Well, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to Therapeutic Edge. Hey, it's nice to have you here today. I have something on the table that you probably won't be able to find for yourself unless you are like me and spend an odd amount of time hunting for older Benchmades. This, of course, is the Loco, but it's not, excuse my arm, it's not the 808, which I love. No, this is the 818. This is the Mini Loco. And it was just a missing piece of my collection, and now I'm going to share it with you. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Let's take a look at what you get. Well, as you can see, as opposed to the full-on monster, it is considerably smaller, right? And yet, it's still comfortable. I wasn't sure. This, of course, the big full size is one of my all-time favorite knives, and I really wish that Benchmade was still making these, but they aren't. So I was just happy to have this one. Not that long ago, a buddy of mine that hunts knives sort of for a living found this one, and I was initially I was not that interested. I like big knives, and then I thought about it for a while and said, you should have both. So he and I did a big knife trade the other day, and in fact, this week is all knives that I'm just adding to my collection. Next week, I have some new stuff. In fact, next week, I've got something that is still in prototype that is going to be joining us here pretty quick. Something new, but we'll share that later. I've also got a really cool Spyderco next week and some other stuff. But this week is just some things that I've added to my collection that make me very happy. So we're going to start with the Mini Loco here. Now, this is not one of those knives for everybody. I absolutely get that. The design alone is interesting enough and kind of odd enough that it just doesn't appeal to a tremendously broad selection of people. I mean, it isn't this. That's for sure. And yet, right, they're not that, right? Lengthwise, they're about the same. But in every other possible way, the Loco series is just a funky, very comfortable and yet kind of bizarre knife. And I think that's one of the reasons it didn't land as hard as I thought it should have when they were available. In fact, when they disappeared, people just kind of went, yeah, and I get that. But I really like this. And then again, I've got a thing for this sort of almost pistol grip, right, style of knife. All right, well, let's do the basic specs, and then we'll do some other comparisons against other knives that are laying around and see how it all goes. The blade, and we're going to straighten it out for that. The blade is 3 1/8 of cutting on just a 3 1/4 of S30V. The grip area from behind that swell, and you do use all the way out here to the end. You're looking at 1, 2, 3.5 inches. So my pinky is right there, but because of the way this is shaped, and it works perfectly for my hand. I don't know. Say, women carry knives?
Yes.
Would you want to grab hold of that and see how it fits in your hand?
It's actually really comfortable. It's good size.
Yeah, plenty of room there, right? It works even in my big old mitts. It is smaller, but it's still very locked in. I like it. The knife overall, so yeah, so you're looking at what, 3.5, a little over. Tip to tail, it's a hard measurement because of this weird shape to it, but you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a little over 7.5 inches overall. Not bad. Closed length coming in at a little over 4 1/4. Now the pocket profile, I mean, there's nothing, because of the access lock, and it's got its own unique access lock. The bars are, the access lock interface is different than on every other Benchmade. It has sort of its own unique hardware. Pivot too. Yeah, since there's nothing back here, right, it's not going to bang into anything in your pocket, but because of the shape, even the little one here, we are looking at well over 1.5 inches. So you're absolutely going to know this is in your pocket. It's a relatively thick boy too, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So let's do some size comparisons with some knives you may be a little more familiar with. I'm going to line it up on this tip. Yeah, let's do that. So again, here it is against the full size for those of you that have or have at least seen one, right? It's considerably smaller. Here it is against the bug out that was just out and in our face. These are very similar in length, but wildly different in the pocket. Here it is against the 940, or in this case, the 943. You can see the 943 is considerably longer. Right. And finally, staying with the Benchmade theme, here it is against the full-size grip. So, I mean, it's mini when compared to the full-size 808, but it's not all that mini, really. The action on this thing is very good. I have no idea how many owners this has had before it came to me. It did come in the full box with the kit and everything, which is nice. It seems to be in pretty much out-of-the-box new shape. There's a little bit of wear on the edges of the clip, which tells me that whoever did own it has carried it, but not much. I got this one used, and, well, of course, I replaced it with a tie clip. I'll probably put the same clip on this one just for, well, a sense of closing the loop, as it were. But this one is, this one is a slightly newer generation because it's got the weird Benchmade.com patent thing stuck to the side here. Other than that, these are very similar, but this is an older one. Yeah, very cool. Stuff like this, well, okay, so if you've watched my channel at all, you know I have an absolute thing for older, discontinued Benchmades. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I really enjoy their new stuff, but, well, old new stuff. I like what they're doing, but like the Tagged Out, for instance, is a super cool knife. And they've made a lot of really interesting things. Wow. Should I try that again?
What kind of things?
Interesting things.
Oh.
There you go. Recently that are very cool. But stuff like this and the full size, and here's one you'll be seeing a little look at a little bit later. This is the aileron. I just don't think they're doing this anymore. I think that they have settled into sort of a make what sells mentality. And look, from a business perspective, wow, I'm having a hard time with words tonight. It makes sense, but at the same time, it's boring. And that's a crying shame. So I'm very happy to have this in the collection. It is, of course, on the axis lock. The action is very good. Overall fit and finish on this particular example seems to be excellent. It's got a lanyard space back here, should you be interested. It's got these fantastic, like, barrel spacers back here. They're just slightly smaller versions of the one you get on the full size. This is a cool knife. And, I wish they were still making stuff like this. For a couple of reasons. One, I had to look for this for a long time. They were still making it. I could have just gone to get one. But that's all right. There is something special about getting into knives from companies from the ago. Newest and the brightest and the shiniest is cool. But as I've said on this channel many times, I can't always spend my time looking at and reviewing the newest Civivi or Sativian, or that's just not how I build my collection. So this week, particularly, we're going to take a look at this. I think on Wednesday, we're going to look at the Spartan Palace that I just got. That's very cool. And then on Friday, we're going to take a longer look at the aileron here, because that's what I did with my knife reality this last couple of weeks, and I thought I'd share it with you. And on that note, but I guess we should weigh it and stuff, huh? Not that you guys care, but I'm curious. Let's go ahead and do it, shall we?
We shall.
We shall. All right. So the Mini Loco, the 818, weighs 4.5 ounces. Not massive, not light either. By way of comparison, the full size weighs 6.5 ounces. So it is considerably smaller than the full size. Where does this come in? 4.3. 4.5. So it's a little tiny bit heavier than a full-size grip. It is a beefy knife. I really like it. Blade stock is nice and thick. They give you, at the thickest point back here, 141 thousandths, which is 3.61 millimeters. The full size, a full 4 millimeters, right? So it really is just this knife brought down a notch. That's cool. I like that. I have a bunch of knives like this. I've got both sizes of the Proponent. I've got the ZT-0300 and the 0350. Yeah, I've got, if I can get knives in 2 sizes, I like to do it. I just think it's cool. So there you go. This is the Mini Loco, the 818 from the nice folks at Benchmade. It is an excellent, by the way, this does come down to a really nice edge, both of these, even though they start really thick, because of how tall the blades are, lots of room to drop down to a really nice edge, which is very cool. So it's very slicey. It pockets very well because everything is smooth and well done. The G10 is milled beautifully. Axis works when you don't screw it up on camera. There you go. Shit, I give up. Anyway, it's a new part to the collection here, and I'm very glad to have it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at it. I suppose if enough of us asked, Benchmade might go back to doing stuff like this. I doubt it, but you never know. And on that note, we are going to end. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about either of the Locos, or if you're curious about where I got it, go ahead and check down at the pinned comment. It is, well, it's my guy over on Instagram who is just a knife bloodhound. You can track him down on the link that I'll post. Hope you guys have enjoyed the look. We'll see you next time.